checking account, or considering a home mortgage, take a look at our team. We work together because we're better together. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Now News Extra here on KNEB and brought to you by Gering Civic Center. With our program, here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. Our guest today is Brent Lindstrom. He's a senator from the Omaha area, represents District 18, currently chairman of the Legislature's Banking Committee, and he's going to be running for chairman of the Revenue Committee. And believe it or not, we have a senator out here who's trying to get consensus on solving some of the problems the legislature has not been able to solve over the last few years. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So tell us, you've been traveling around the state, talking to a lot of people out here for a couple days. Explain what the idea is here.
Sure. So it's the second tour of a 2-year tour. I last year spent some time going to 26 different towns and meeting with 40 plus bankers. And so I promised Senator Stinner and Senator Williams out of Gothenburg, that I'd come out further west, and I've been meeting with, in my capacity as the banking chair, meeting with bankers, and then as potential revenue chairman, meeting with bankers and business owners across the state to find a solution on how we move forward with some tax policy reform. And so last night I was in Venango meeting with Senator Hughes, and we'll continue to meet with folks today in Scottsbluff, and then going up to Alliance later today, and then down to North Platte, Grand Island, and then kind of finish up the trip in Albion, and then back home.
All right. So what are all these bankers, I guess, first of all, telling you about our economy and so forth? Out here in the rural area, pretty tough, right?
It is tough, yeah. And sitting in revenue, as a revenue committee individual, I've seen a lot of people come in and testify and talking about those particular issues. And so part of the deal last year, when commodity prices, in particular corn, was hovering around $3, you got a sense of a lot of urgency in dealing with this property tax issue. And although corn has rallied off that, it isn't in anywhere any good place for most folks, and property taxes is still the number one issue. Valuations have come down a little bit, but it still isn't enough to offset the burden that has become the property tax issue. And so we are working on finding solutions, and what that means is we're dealing with what I'll call the 4 silos. We have the incentive program, we have the income tax, sales tax silo, education silo, and then the property tax silo. And as we play this out between now and January, there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of vetting with the different tax policies, because the magic number is 33 in the legislature. There's 49 of us, and most likely some of these bills will be filibustered, and to overcome those filibusters, you need 33 votes. And so finding the pitfalls that lie out there between now and January is part of the process of coming out here, finding the needs, the wants, and then the non-starters for folks in the ag community, the urban community, and then the R's and D's. And there's a whole host of different groups across the spectrum that we're trying to work with to solve this problem.
All right. And one of the things you mentioned that is really key at the very start is the education formula, TIOSA, and maybe trying to get the state to fund more of education than it is now, right?
Right. So the original intent of the TIOSA formula was to fund around 20%. I think it's around 2% right now. So it's put the burden on the back of the property taxpayers. And so through that, the allocated income portion of the sales tax and income tax, we can facilitate more of state aid, so we offset that equalized versus unequalized problem that lies in the legislature. And that really is what causes the division and the quote-unquote urban versus rural divide. And I think we can do it. There's solutions out there. I'm working on there's a couple different task force out there, and part of them all to solve this solution. And we're trying to do what's probable. TIOSA has been set up. We've been utilizing that for a long time. There's folks that want to eliminate it. I don't think there's enough votes to do that, but there's a path forward to make sure that we offset that property tax burden in the tune of anywhere from 18 to 20-some% if we do it the right way.
Yeah, if you can move 18% of that over to the state, yeah, that would reduce the property tax burden immensely. All right, we'll be back to talk more with Senator Lindstrom right after this.
The Gering Civic Center has hosted close to 2 million exhilarated guests in over 24 years. Ask anyone that has hosted an event at the Gehring Civic Center, and they will tell you that our staff is courteous and efficient. Our caterer, The Meat Shop, has 34 years of experience creating your next fabulous meal. Call 436-6888 or visit GehringCivicCenter.com. Like us on Facebook, Gehring Civic Center. Talk about experience.
Back on News Extra today, we have Senator Brett Lindstrom here from Omaha, currently chairman of the Legislature's Banking Committee, but he's running for Revenue Committee Chair in this upcoming session, looking at some of our problems, including property taxes and moving some of the burden of funding schools over to the state through the TIOSA formula, kind of changing that a little bit. Also, you're looking at incentives, the state incentive program, the Nebraska Advantage Act, and we can maybe change that a little bit and find some money, huh?
We can. The Nebraska Advantage Act has been around for a little over a decade. It sunsets in 2020, and there really isn't an appetite in the body to bring it back the way it is. So most likely we will let it sunset and then take those dollars, use it more towards an incentive program that's more targeted to what we do well in Nebraska. And so using those dollars to maybe do some income tax, sales tax reform in conjunction with the property tax portion, and like I said, with the different silos that we have, really one can't operate in a vacuum. You just won't have enough votes to do the property tax as it is, or the education as it is, or the income tax as it is. So we're really going to have to do a heavy lift between now and January and then into January, but I am optimistic that we can get something done in this next session because the urgency is out there from the ag community, from the business community with the incentive program, with the feds changing their income tax rates. There's a lot of urgency and a lot of things that we need to do, and that's part of why I'm out visiting a lot of folks just to make sure we are covering all of our bases leading into January.
Yeah, last year you had 3 bills in the legislature, and really none of them had any kind of overwhelming support. Hopefully you can kind of get everybody on the same page right away. Huh?
Yeah, we had 3 big tax bills, Senator Erdman's 829, Senator Breezy's 1084, and Senator Smith's 947, and none of the bills, I think at the most, had 25 votes. And so what we're trying to do is piece together the best parts of that in conjunction with dealing with the incentive portion and then vetting it through the different groups and senators to make sure that we have the best policy moving forward. And like I said, I want to approach this from an angle of 4 different silos that if one moves, they can all move, and most likely if one fails, they all will fail just because there won't be enough votes for one of those particular issues.
And you have to do this with votes with everybody up for re-election, including yourself.
Yeah,
so that's kind of tough, huh?
Well, it is that we have with term limits, we have about a third of the body that turns over every 2 years, and so it just creates a different dynamic. 4 years in, you become a senior member, and you have to take on the leadership roles a little quicker than maybe in the past, but that's okay. We get some new ideas coming in. I think we'll have potentially 12 new members that come in with a couple of senators that aren't seeking re-election, a couple of senators running for statewide office, and then maybe some turnover in some other seats. So you just take it as it comes and get everybody on board. And it's a steep learning curve when you get down here. It takes about 30 days just to figure out where you're going in the building, and then another year to figure out what's going on. But after 4 years, you feel like you could get a pretty good sense. And so yes, I'm working on that as well, but I'm confident in seeing that through into November 6th.
All right. Very good. Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck. Sounds like I think you're on the right page. I really do.
I think so too.
All right. Senator Brett Lindstrom from Omaha, chairman of the Legislature's Banking Committee, a name you're going to hear a lot, especially if he's chair of the Revenue Committee after the first couple days in the legislature. All right. Very good. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah,
That was very good.
absolutely.
Very good. Here, I'll give you one of these.